All right, let's talk about discipline, but not the kind you're probably used to seeing all over social media. We're going to dive into something way more powerful, what I'd call the scariest level of discipline. It's this silent, unstoppable force that just works, completely under the radar.
So let's kick things off with this idea right here. Just let this sink in for a moment. Real power doesn't need an audience. Wow, it's not about putting on a show, right? It's not about getting likes or applause. It's all about what you're doing when there's literally no one there to see it. And that brings us to the big question, doesn't it? If the scariest kind of discipline isn't all that flashy, public hustle stuff we see on social media, then what in the world is it? What makes it so effective?
Okay, so to get to the bottom of that, we first have to bust a myth. We've really got to unpack this image of discipline that's been, hammered into our brains, especially from what we see online.
I mean, you know the vibe, right? That 4 a.m. workout selfie, the screenshot with the timestamp, the whole rise and grind caption, that's the poster child for hustle culture discipline. It's loud, it's very public, and honestly, it's begging for validation. But does it actually work?
And this is where we see the huge difference. The myth, the one we see online, it feeds on outside approval. It needs that little dopamine hit from likes, the hype you get from an audience. But the reality, that scary level of discipline, it doesn't need any of that. It just runs on autopilot. It doesn't care about your feelings, and it certainly doesn't care if anyone is watching.
So you're probably wondering, how does that even work? Well, that brings us right to the heart of it, the incredible power of quiet, internal discipline. Now we're going to get into the psychology behind it all.
The big idea, the psychological term for this, is automaticity. And folks, this is the secret sauce. This is the end game. It's when your habits are so deeply wired into you that they are just non-negotiable. There's no internal debate about whether you feel like it or not. You just do it. That is the scariest level of discipline, when doing the work is as automatic as breathing.
And here's why this is such a game changer. Automaticity absolutely shatters what I call the motivation loop. Think about it. Most of us, we wait to feel ready. We wait for motivation or inspiration or some burst of energy before we start. But feelings, they come and go, right? They're totally unreliable. Real discipline, the kind we're talking about, just skips that step completely. The action is what matters. The feeling doesn't even enter the picture.
Okay, so that's the what and the why. It all makes sense. But the million-dollar question is, how do you actually build this? How do you get your habits to that autopilot stage? Well, it all comes down to having a system. The number one tool in our toolbox for this is something called an implementation intention. Yeah, I know, it sounds super formal, maybe a little academic, but trust me, the idea behind it is incredibly simple. All it is a plan you make ahead of time. You link a specific trigger to a specific action. That's it. What you're doing is taking your future willpower and your messy emotions completely out of the equation before they even have a chance to mess things up.
And the way you do this is with a super simple if-then plan. Here's the breakdown. Step 1, get super specific about your action. Not just, I'll write more. No, it's, I will write 500 words for my project. Step 2, link it to a cue, something specific. When I finish my morning coffee. And step 3, the most crucial part, when that cue hits, you just execute. No argument, no delay, zero excuses. The decision is already in the past.
All right, now let's talk about something that might seem a little backward, kind of counterintuitive. It's the hidden danger of talking about your goals. And this, right here, is why that whole moving in silence thing is so incredibly important.
So here's the trap your brain can fall into. When you go around telling everyone about your big plans and they all say, wow, that's awesome, or you're going to crush it, your brain gets a nice little reward, a little dopamine hit, and it feels great. The problem is, it can feel so good that your brain gets tricked into feeling like you've already done some of the work. And that premature feeling of accomplishment, that's the real danger, because it can actually drain your motivation to do the actual hard work. Think about it. Your brain got the prize without running the race. That's exactly why you need to move in silence. Real power isn't announced in a press conference. It's built, quietly, brick by brick, when no one is watching.
So, let's pull all these threads together. What we're really talking about here is a fundamental shift in thinking. It's about getting off that exhausting hamster wheel of chasing motivation, and instead getting into the business of quietly and consistently building real, lasting power. And I think this quote just sums it all up perfectly. Real discipline doesn't speak. It just shows up and produces results. It's not about the big talk. It's not about the Instagram story. It's not about the hype.
It's about one thing: the quiet, consistent act of showing up day in and day out and just doing the work. Because in the end, the results, they do all the talking for you.
So I want to leave you with one final question to think about. And be honest with yourself. Take a hard look at your own habits and ask this: is your discipline built for show? Is it designed to be seen by an audience? Or is it a silent, powerful system built for just one thing: to win? The answer to that question, well, it just might change everything for you. Thanks for joining this explainer.